Hello travelers, Boardman21 here, and today we're going to discuss 8.2, the next upcoming patch for last Epoch. Now, to begin, let's go over the timeline of when patches normally come out. They usually come in 2-month intervals, give or take a week or two. However, in a recent post named Assembling the Abomination, we saw that in the very last sentence of it, that they are currently anticipating that this update will be taking a couple of weeks longer than most of their content patches, which means that since we got the last patch in mid-February with 8.1, that 8.2 was looking to be in mid-April. However, now it's looking to be towards the end of April, possibly even early May. And if we scroll back up to the top of this post, there is another intriguing segment where they quickly go over that they're currently working on new boss fights to add more variety to their endgame content and once again raise the standard of the boss encounters. Now, if you're like me and you've been here for the last few patches, you know that boss fight encounters have been dramatically improving. In fact, from some of the first boss fights that you encountered a year ago compared to the timeline bosses that you can do now, they have completely changed and they are way more interactive and intriguing, and there's nothing more exciting when a new patch comes out and they introduce new bosses to go and see what kind of abilities and how hard and how tough and how much skill it's actually going to take to beat them. And while they say a couple of these feature particularly impressive models, which you'll hopefully enjoy seeing as much as they enjoy designing them, they're not ready to show them off just yet. And then they go on to talk about how the process is done of them doing the models for such things, and they go into full detail about the assembling abomination models for the necromancer skill. And if you find that intriguing, the link for that will be below so you can continue on reading, but we're going to move on to the next subject, the huge UI improvements that are coming. So for 8.2, UI improvements are coming, and these are actually a lot bigger than you might think when you first read over them, because some of them are not only going to affect the way you see things, but they're going to affect combat and what you can do. If you can see monsters, that you couldn't normally see right now, or effects on the ground that could even kill you, and the world map, how actually detailed it's going to be in the way that they've redesigned it. Now, we don't get all of the information on everything, and we can't, scroll through more than what we're given, but we'll start at the top and work our way down. Now, there's a lot happening when a social post needs a table of contents, and in this post you can click on each of the non-GIF images to see a larger version of them. And if you haven't checked this out, this forum post will also be in the description below. For the table of contents, they have new action bars, style update, updating the ward display, a new controller variant looking of the UI, new world map, removing the quest window, which they said they'll now be implementing into the world map, a new class passive window, and loot label optimization. So we'll start with the action bar changes and the style update. We have been performing a UI pass to assess which parts of the user interface need to be updated stylistically or optimized for improved performance. We're fond of the design of our action bar, but not of how much space it takes up. As part of a future update, we'll be adjusting it so you can better see enemies at the bottom of your screen. Now, this is a huge thing, and I've complained for a while because it's not just that the UI is in the way. I also don't really like the camera angle because you're too far behind the character and not enough above it to where you can see further to the north than you can to the south. And that means that for echoes that run from the south to the north, it's nice and easy because you can quick a long ways ahead and be able to run that whole distance. You can see mobs, but if you're running an echo from the north to the south, it's a lot harder because you can only click a little ways and you can't see mobs until they actually come out from underneath your UI. Now, the new looking thing actually has gaps to where the bottom of your screen is actually down here, and you'll be able to see this area now where mobs, effects, poison pools, you can actually, I'm assuming, be able to click in this area too for movement, and that's going to open up a lot. So I actually like the new look of this. The only thing I don't like about it is just kind of the mix with the left mouse button here. However, the rest of it is beautiful, and I really like that I'm now going to be able to see things below me further than I could before, and possibly even be able to click down here if that's something that we can do. The next UI update on the list is updating the ward display. While improving other aspects of the action bar, we'll be refining how it displays ward. We're sticking with our established method of having a single bar represent your max maximum health and ward, and increasing the number of bars as your ward skyrockets upwards. However, it looks like they've moved it to where it will now be in kind of an arc fashion over the health glow bar that you have, and it looks like it's going to anesthetically be much easier to look at in combat, and you can kind of quickly glance and just look at how full the bar is and know how much ward you're sitting at without having to try and read a number to know exactly what you're at. So hopefully this works a lot better than what we currently have. There's also going to be new controller variants of the UI. As you can see here, you have your current version where the whole bottom is hidden and there's nowhere that you can really click or see down here. The new mouse and keyboard, which will be our version, you can see down here, this is what I was talking about earlier, is you can now see down here, you'll be able to see if there's poison, mobs. It's not that much further than you could see before, but before there was a chance that a mob or a poison was sitting under your health and you didn't see it, and if you moved just a little bit, you could step in it. Now it looks like you'll have a little bit more of an accessible view so that you can see things like that. And then the gamepad again looks even a little bit more different, where you'll have your 5 skills in the middle and you still have this nice open clean looking area in the bottom. And as we move down the list to the next item, we get to my favorite, the new world map. You may have noticed something on this page, which is this page, and that's this brand new overview of the entire world of Edera that's on the new website when we deployed our new website back in December. For several months we have been working on a very significantly higher quality world map to show off the world of Edera in all of its glory. The sheer scale of this artwork may not have been immediately apparent, so we prepared a small teaser. And here is the small leftmost island after you zoom in. So if you take a look at this, you can see this is quite a well detailed map. You can kind of see the areas, and if you've ran through the maps and done the campaign, you can kind of tell these areas and where they've been at as you've ran through them. Even the textures of the ground kind of match the areas that you went through, and then of course you have what looks like, I'm assuming, Lagon in the map over here. Now if you look at this entire map and all of its detail, if you go to the original map, that's just this little island right here on the left. You have where the tentacles are, you have this other part of the island, you have this round little lake pool here, and if you go back to the other map you'll see you have that here with the nice U-shaped horseshoe here and the tentacles. All of that is just this little map. So I'm actually super excited to see what this entire thing is going to look like. It is a huge map and I'm very excited to see what that entails and how much more not only detail is going into the map, but the other aspects that will then be tied into the quest system, which is what we're going to discuss next, is removing the quest window. Alongside the release of the new world map, they will be removing the dedicated quest window and moving its functionality to the map window. This will be one of several changes intended to help people better understand which zones each quest takes place in. And continuing down to the last couple of items, they have the new class passives window. They are redesigning a new layout to use by our class passives to make better use of the space available. The new window should look better aesthetically and feel less cramped. And then there's the loot label optimization. In patch 8.2, we'll be updating the organization of loot labels to be more efficient. We do not anticipate any perceivable changes to their behavior. This change will mostly be pronounced when a large number of loot labels are presented on the screen close together. To offer an example, when there are 140 items on the ground close together, the update will cause their loot labels to take approximately 85% less frame time, heavily improving their impact on frame rate. In other words, this process will be approximately 5 to 6 times faster. So in other words, when you have those big treasure chest of explosions, you shouldn't expect big FPS drops as well. And that's going to wrap it up for the overview of this. What are you most excited about? Do you want to see the new UIs? Are you excited for the new bosses? Or are you excited for that world map? Alright, go ahead and comment below which one it is, and I'll see you next time. Until then, stay safe, travelers.